Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Caroline. Welcome to the gray area. If you're new to my channel, hello, welcome to the gray area. We do makeup and talk about true crime, and it's fun, and I'm a cool person, so welcome. If you are a returning subscriber, what's up? Welcome back. You're probably wondering why majority of my makeup is done. My microphone was not on for half of this story. So we're going to retell it, and I'm going to pick up where I left off, and it's going to be fine. Today's story is about Darlene Gentry. Have you heard of her? Because I did not know who she was. But you guys, she is something else. Let's just go on back to the beginning. Let me try this again. Let's get into it. Once upon a time, there was a boy and a girl in college, junior year to be exact. Keith Gentry and Darlene Doskasel meet for the first time in junior year of college. They were both going to Texas State Technical College in Waco, and it was love at first sight, guys. They were just eaten up with each other. They were smitten. Now, Darlene was a local small town beauty queen. Everybody loved her. She was also studying to be a dental assistant. She said that she hated her teeth, so it made her go into wanting to be a dental assistant. But I totally feel that because I hate my teeth, but that's like a whole different story time, my damn teeth. Keith grew up outside of Waco, and he was studying welding and drafting classes. And people say that, he was such a sweet person. He was a people person. He was a really good guy at heart, and he was a lot of fun, and he loved hunting and fishing and just, all over raves for Keith. He's just such a good guy. When they graduated, they had been dating for about 8 months at that point. And this is where things started getting a little rocky, and, they started growing apart a little bit, so they broke up. Now, when Darlene and Keith broke up, Darlene said that she had to just get away as far away as she could from him because she loved his family, and she had grown really close to them, and it was just hard for her to see them all the time, and she had to get away. So she got 100 miles away. She got the hell out of there. Now, she says that Keith wasn't ready to settle down. He still wanted to date around a whole bunch, and she was ready to settle down, have a family, and he just wasn't ready for that. So that's why they broke up, apparently. Darlene says that at this point she moved to Dallas. And she lived there for a year, and then, I think her car got hijacked, her car got stolen, broken into, and that scared her enough to come back home to her parents. Keith and Darlene really enjoyed dancing, and so they actually, when she came back home, they reconnected at a bar or a dance club or something, and they reconnected and they started talking again, and they got back together. And Keith's family was really happy about this because they liked Darlene and they thought that Darlene was good for Keith. So when they got back together, they were super happy about it. In 1999, after 3 years of being together, Keith finally asked Darlene to marry him, and they had a giant Texas wedding. They went all out. So at this time, Keith took a job as a traveling technician for an architectural firm. He didn't get to see them a lot. He missed a lot of stuff. But they built a house right next to Keith's parents' house in Robinson, Texas. And they built it right next door. So, they started a family, had 3 kids in a matter of 4 years. She was just popping them out left and right, kids everywhere. So after that second baby, Darlene went back to work, but this time she went into the nursing field and became a nurse. And Keith's job kept him on the road for 4 days at a time. So he was always gone. and was missing things. And, Darlene had to pick up the slack with all those kids and with working, and she just became extremely tired. I mean, I would be too, working a nursing job. That's in itself exhausting. And then you have all those kids on top of that, and of course the housework. Like, that's a lot for anybody. They got to see each other on the weekends, and that was nice, but kind of all started falling apart, guys. It wasn't good. So Keith took a new job so he could be closer to home, and he'd be, home more, because he didn't like being away from his family like that, because he's a good dude and he loves his family, and it was hurting him to be away like that. And he knew it was a lot on Darlene, so he wanted to come home and help out more. And so he took a 9-to-5 boring job, and it's not something that he loved. It wasn't his passion, but he was willing to put his passions aside to be with his family, which super admirable. But here's the thing about Darlene, you guys. Here's the thing about Darlene. This girl likes to shop, okay? And with Keith's new job, it was a huge pay cut for their family. So he wasn't making the money he was making before. And that made no difference to Darlene. Nope, not one little bit. She was racking up credit card debt left and right. She loved to shop. She loved to look beautiful. And, she loved to get stuff for the house. And Keith was going into debt. He was getting calls, bill collector calls, and he was asking her about where all the money was going. And, he even told his friends, she'll spend everything I have if I'm not with her, on her all the time, which is not a good sign. And after that, they were just fighting over money all the time, and it just became what their relationship just revolved around, was all the debt that she put them in. After 6 years of marriage, it's 2005 right now. I mean, Darlene's out partying all the time. People are noticing, friends and family are noticing that Darlene is always going out. And it's not just the normal babysitting that the grandparents were doing. They were taking the kids even in the evenings when she wasn't at work. And she was just going out, living her best life. They're in debt, and she's out partying, so. Keith said to many people that even though they were having problems, that he would never leave. He would never give up on his marriage and his commitment to Darlene, and he would never give up on his children. Just trying to make that happy house for them was all he could do. He did the best that he could, and he just told everybody that he was not going to give up. He was going to be there for her. So November 9th, 2005, at around 6 a.m. in the morning, 911 gets a phone call from Darlene. Now, this is where you really need to pay attention to everything coming out of this woman's mouth, okay? Because I know I sure did. I was really listening to this 911 call, because it's just kind of odd. Didn't kind of make sense, Right off the bat, she's 911, what's your emergency? And she's I just woke up in my kids' room because they couldn't sleep. My husband's gun cabinet is empty. All his guns are missing. And oh, by the way, my husband's shot in the face and is dying. Send help. Took 20, almost 30 seconds for her to get to the fact that her husband was shot in the face and is dying in his bed. She had to give all these basically what to me sounded like covering her tracks ahead of time, where she was, why she was in there. It just a little suspect when I heard that. But we shall proceed. So when the cops get there, they showed up in minutes, and they see all of the missing guns neatly laid out in the lawn, right by the corner of the driveway, as if the alleged robber just got scared and dropped them all there. But why would you kill someone for the guns and then just drop them? That makes no sense at all. So Keith was fighting for his life. He had a gunshot wound to the head, and there was an entry wound but no exit wound. So they rushed him to the hospital. He was barely hanging on when he left the house. And they're asking Darlene, you know, all the obvious questions, you know, like, what did you see? What did you hear? And she's like, I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything. I was in my boy's room. It was just striking all the officers kind of odd, like her responses and just like how she was kind of coming across. I mean, she was making herself look suspect. And then they asked if she had helped at all, like trying to, you know, give him any kind of aid while she was waiting for paramedics. And she responded with, no, I didn't touch him. I just called 911. I didn't even touch him. Are you kidding me? If that was my husband, holy shit. I would be all up in the mix trying to like hold pressure, like hold pressure on a wound or whatever you're supposed to do. I mean, I would have tried to do something, you know? Let's recap all the weird things that are going on right now. The investigators see no forced entry. This is a break-in with nothing broken into. The gun cabinet, it is a glass front gun cabinet. And it wasn't shattered. It wasn't broken into. Somebody had to actually take the key from the top of the gun cabinet down, unlock it, and replace the key. Okay. Some of the on-site officers' audio actually pick up them talking to each other. And like right off the bat, like minutes after getting there, you hear two of the officers talking and they're like, yo, this is fishy. I think she did it. This is a little suspect. I think she did it, bro. They take Darlene back to the police station since she's like the only person that was there during all this. And they're just trying to interview her and just kind of get more information of what she may have heard or saw, or like if she has any enemies, or like, you know, just more information about what happened or what could have happened or allegedly happened or whatever. So she said the night before all of this happened that she had gone out with a friend and they were like 30 miles away. And she came home around 8 or 9 at night. And she said that an argument ensued between her and Keith over money, and that, you know, she like left and drove around for a little bit to let him cool down. And that when she came back and he was calm, that they had a better like understanding and calmer conversation about her spending all his freaking money, like all the debt she put them in. They had a better conversation about it when she came back. And then she made like a point to make sure she told officers that like her kids hadn't been feeling good, and that, you know, she was trying to keep them quiet, and, you know, I guess they were growing restless in there, and she went in there to watch a movie and then fell asleep and didn't wake up till 6 a.m. the next morning when she found everything the way it was. Found her back door open. She was like, ooh, it's chilly in here. Oh, the back door's open. Ah, the gun cabinet's empty. Ah. And then she said that she like screamed up for Keith, and Keith wasn't answering for some weird reason. So she ran up there and kicked him. Cannot believe she said that. She said she ran up there, Keith, someone stole all your guns, and he didn't answer, and he's like gurgling and making like weird noises, and so she kind of hits him. Keith. Oh, he's dying. I'm not going to touch him. I'm going to go call 911 real quick and just stay away from him. Like never once in this interrogation did she ask, is my husband okay? Can I go see my husband? Like, where is my husband? What's the update on my husband? She didn't care. She was just really trying to get her facts straight, trying to get her story across. Every little detail in her story, but never once, is my husband okay? So about an hour into the interview, they get a call from the hospital, an update. And the bullet had lodged itself so deep and there was no recovering it, and he was brain damaged. He was brain dead. So they actually got her in the car, took her down to the hospital, so when they unplugged him, everybody could be there together. And moments after they did that, he passed away, unfortunately. And it was terrible. Everybody was extremely sad, and you know, she was there with the family, and the family was just horribly distraught, you know, understandably. And Keith's father, made note that she was, you know, teary-eyed, but not like a wife that just lost her husband to a random robbery shooting. Like, she was kind of emotionless. She wasn't freaking out like someone that just lost their husband. So he noted that that was kind of weird. So at this point, after they say their goodbyes to Keith, the police want to take Darlene back in for more questioning. And this time it is a little bit more harsh, guys. It's a little bit more cut the shit, you know, kind of putting the heat on her a little bit to see what her reaction is, if she just like comes out and confesses, or, you know, they're really trying to get a confession. And they set their sights on Darlene because with everything that they're presented with, all of the fingers point back to Darlene. So they come at her a little bit more harshly, and she immediately lawyers up and quiets up because she feels like it's all being pinned on her. So she immediately gets a lawyer, and that was it for the questioning. The police did find it odd that there was one gun out of the collection that was kind of dumped on the lawn that was truly taken and was truly missing. It was a 9-shot 22 caliber, and the bullet was too destroyed in Keith's head for full recovery to compare against a gun, but they do know, and they could salvage enough to know that it was a 22 that killed him. Does this part freak you guys out? It used to freak me out all the time, but now I'm really good at it. So the police are trying to dig deep so they can try to figure out like why she would do this. They need a motive. They need to figure out like what is going on behind the scenes. So then they find, you know, after some simple digging, it's always money, guys. It's always money. They find out that he had not one but 2 life insurance policies that would total up to $700,000 to $750,000. And so, boom, there's your motive. Ding, ding, ding. So on November 27, 2005, a warrant for Darlene's arrest was issued for suspicion of murder. But by that evening, she was actually released because Keith's parents believed her and trusted her so much, they actually put up her $50,000 bail, and that evening she was out and free. It's crazy how much they like trust her and believe her. Darlene was in legal limbo for about several months. I mean, they didn't know what to do with her. They were gathering evidence. Her defense was gathering her defense, I'm assuming. This girl didn't waste no time moving on because by the end of November, she was already trying to get in contact with like a local builder who was like an acquaintance of hers. He was a realtor and a builder, and she was trying to move out of that house. It was just too hard on her to be in there. And so she was trying to find some land that she could actually build a house on. And that's when she met this dude. And she was like, hey, does that come with a pond? And he was like, yeah, it does come with a pond. And she was like, oh, great, because my kids love to fish, and I'm really excited about this pond. Like, she made a really big deal about this pond, okay? And then the guy found it, like, really weird because a couple days later well, I guess it wasn't a couple days later. It was a couple months later. They go back out there, and they're talking, like, finishing up paperwork for the house, I guess. And all of a sudden, her, like, mind is changed. And she's like, I really want you to, like, push in that pond. Like, fill it in. As soon as you can, fill it in. And, you know, this realtor is not a dum-dum. He knows who she is. He knows what's going on right now. I'm sure it's, like, in the paper and being talked about. So he knows what's going on. And he just found that a little suspect, how quickly she changed her mind from wanting the pond to not wanting the pond. And there's just all this interest in this pond. So he gives a little tipperoo to the police. He tells them aren't y'all still looking for the murder weapon? Like, isn't that still missing? And they're like, you know what? It is. What you got? And he was like, you know, she's interested in the pond. Then she's not. Now she wants it immediately pushed in. So, of course, these cops, like, immediately send out a search team for this pond. And you guys would not even believe this. Like, they weren't even in the water, like, 10 to 15 minutes, and they found the damn gun. They found the missing 9-shot 22 that was missing out of Keith's collection. That was pretty much them assuming it was the murder weapon as well. They find that, and these cops are so smart, man. They, like, stick a stick in the water, sticking up out of the water to, like, show where they found the gun. And then they hide, like, a secret camera in the brush. And they tell that realtor to call Darlene and to tell Darlene that in order to push the pond in like she wants, that they're going to have to drain it. And they're going to have to drain it fast. And you guys, like, literally 15, 20 minutes later, after this guy calls Darlene, she's so stupid, you guys. They have her on that video with her bleach blonde hair out there searching for the murder weapon. She's got a stick and she's digging around. She's digging around in the water, like right where the murder weapon was found. Like, she went straight to where the murder weapon was found. And that's where she started looking. And if she was innocent, why would she be out there? Why would she be fishing around for something? Why would she go exactly to where the gun was found? I mean, it's insane. So, they got that against her now. So, they enter all this new evidence in. And January 11th, the grand jury officially indicts Darlene on first-degree murder. And on February 6, 2007, Darlene finally stood trial for first-degree murder. The thing that I found crazy was after they showed the video, after they showed the video to the court, her defense attorney literally, like, rested without saying anything about the video. Like, did not say a word, didn't defend it, didn't put her on the stand because they knew that she would be asked questions that, I mean, she just couldn't answer. So, was her defense lawyer, like, the best? No, he, like, didn't even try, but, I mean, like, at that point, you can't really try because it's clear as hell that she's guilty, especially with that damning video evidence. I mean, that was the nail in the coffin for her because, I mean, hello, why are you searching for the murder weapon if you didn't do it? After 5 hours of deliberation, the jury found Darlene guilty of first-degree murder, and they sentenced her to 60 years in prison. Immediately after, Darlene filed for an appeal, saying that they can't use that video evidence because she was out there looking for the gun because she heard a hot tip that the murder weapon was out there and she wanted to get it so she could give it to the police to help in the investigation. Because that makes sense. Why not tell the police the hot tip? Ugh, I digress. But you know, guys, this was a crazy story. I think that she murdered her husband. I mean, let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think that she murdered her husband? Do you think the cops didn't even try to look anywhere else? That's what she thinks. But, I mean, I think she murdered her husband. But yeah, this was a crazy story. I'm not even going to do a lip color because, like, I had one picked out, but it doesn't look like it's going to match because I also went a little orangier than I thought I was going to go. But I really like my eyes, so I'm just going to throw some chapstick on because, I mean, it's like 11 o'clock at night. I'm not really going to go anywhere. This is for you guys. Alright, guys, that's the end of my story. She totally deserves to be in jail for 60 years. She deserves to be in there for the rest of her life. You guys let me know in the comments below what you thought about today's story. Let me know what you guys want to hear next. Leave a comment down below of, you know, somebody you're interested in that you want me to deep dive into for you and do a fabulous makeup look while I talk about their horrible lives. I'll do that for you. I upload every weekend if you guys are like interested in that. Make sure you give a thumbs up for this video if you enjoyed it. Hit the notification bell so you get notified every time that I upload. Sub. Are you guys subbed? I don't think you're subbed. Like, hit the sub bar wherever I put it. Hit it. And if you didn't see last week's video, I will put it right here. Ba-da-da-da! Please go and check that out. I think you'll really like it. Yeah. That's the end of my video, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ta! I need to figure out a better intro, outro, because I'm really bad at this. Bye, guys.